Right there, Ella." I looked up, frowning, and squinting toward the tree he was pointing at. It took me a few seconds to find the bird with black and white wings with a splash of red across its breast. I shuddered as the bird hopped to the branch below it, shaking the leaves. "I don't like that kind." Penn glanced down at me, clutching the silvery shaft near the eyepiece lens. His dark brown eyes glimmered with excitement. "Why? They're beautiful." "I don't know." I pulled my foot up as the bird took flight, disappearing further into the tree where it found a leafy hidey hole. I took off my one lonely flip-flop. It looks like its throat was slit and it bled all over itself. His mouth dropped open. That's sick." I giggled. "It's true." "Never looked at it that way." "Huh." He dipped his head back to the eyepiece and I swallowed a sigh. We weren't heading to Gavin's any time soon. "They're my favorite species." I hadn't forgotten that. Cardinals were Penn's favorite. Now, 1. Stars blanketed the sky like tiny tiki torches, casting pinpricks of light on the dark field that butted up to the edge of an obsessively manicured backyard. I scratched at the label on the bottle I held and tipped my chin up, closing my eyes as the warm end-of-summer breeze washed over my face. The dry, rough grass scratched at my bare legs, and I was probably sitting on or near a fire ant hill, about to be devoured alive. But I didn't care. In less than 48 hours, I'd be starting my senior year, and by this time next year, instead of staring up at stars, I'd be gazing at the twinkling city lights outside the University of Maryland. I would be so done with this place. "Ella, what in the hell are you doing?" I jerked at the sound of Lindsay Roach's voice and twisted at the waist. She stood behind me, holding 2 bottles of beer in her hands. "Double fisting tonight?" I asked, raising my eyebrows. "Hardcore, Linz." She laughed as she dropped down beside me, curling long dark legs underneath her. Handing one of the bottles to me, she wrinkled her nose. "Yeah, no. I'm not going to be one of those girls who gets drunk at Brock's party, takes off their clothes, and jumps into his pool, among other things." I opened my mouth. Linz held up a hand, silencing me. "Not trying to judge, but you know what's going to go down. It happens every year. One of the giggling chicks back there is going to strip down and show the world, God, and baby Jesus her goodies." My lips twitched. Linz and I had been best friends since freshman year, when we'd been paired together to work on a social sciences project. She'd always been a hell of a lot more opinionated than me. Linz really couldn't be called pretty. Not with her curly black hair that looked perfect, whether it was pulled back tight at the crown or cascading down her back. Pretty wasn't a word I'd use for her near flawless deep brown skin, or cat-shaped eyes and lips ready-made for a makeup ad. Nope. Linz was the kind of beautiful that made you want to kick her in the lady bits when she donned a 2-piece bikini. She was gorgeous. "Remember last year?" She took a drink and rested the bottle on the hem of her denim shorts. V. Bartol took off her clothes and danced on the diving board? Like dropped low on the diving board? I winced, easily recalling that incident. Not because V got up and did that, but because of the fallout that occurred afterward. But it happened every year since we were sophomores. The parties Brock Cochran threw the weekend before school started had become a religion to the student body. They were notorious. His parents were always on the absentee list Saturday night, and his older brother supplied the alcohol in various forms, and someone always did something they'd spend the upcoming school year regretting on an epic level. My smile faded away like the last days of summer as I stretched out my legs. I glanced over at Linz, and in the silvery moonlight, I could see that she was no longer smiling. She bit down on her plump lower lip. "I heard that the police still think she ran away." Wiggling my toes, I cast my gaze to the sky again. Everyone wants to believe that V ran away. I do. The only other options are horrifying and ugly. But when she went missing 2 weeks ago, her family had appeared on the local TV stations, tearfully begging for her return.